Breaking news, everyone. I'm reporter John Van Winkle from Cambodia, and okay, I don't know where this is going. Anyway, hey guys, and welcome to the final vlog in my vlog series Adventures at the European Innovation Academy, day 22. And before I start, there are a few things that I forgot to mention in the last vlog, which is that my laptop broke the other day. Well, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the text post. But my laptop broke the other day, so I lost a few things. I can't use the same video editing software, and I lost my intro, my amazing intro, which I'm actually low-key pretty sad about. But it's okay, because as you guys can tell, I'm pretty good at using iMovie, so I guess no harm done, if you look at the big picture, look at the big scheme of things. Anyway, so there were just a few things that I wanted to focus on in this video, which is I wanted to reflect on my entire journey, how being here in these past 3 weeks has impacted my life, the people who I've met, the experience I've gained, and what I'm going to take out of this whole experience. And to do that, I ended up watching my entire vlog series. I pretty much binged watched it, obviously by choice, definitely not against my will or anything. And it actually surprised me a bit how different I was at the very beginning, and how I ended up changing over the 3 weeks. Like, you could see the transformation process along the way, and also it rekindled a few experiences that I forgot a little bit, and it was actually really heartfelt, and it taught me a few things. So before I came to the program, I had a lot of questions that went relatively unanswered by the first week. I wasn't sure what the program was like, the type of people that would be attracted to coming here, how seriously people would take it, and just in general, how seriously I would take it, and what I'd get out of it. So after the first week, a few of my questions went unanswered, but what I learned the most about were the people here, not about the experience itself, but just the people. So during the first week, it was just a series of lectures in the lecture hall. And it felt a lot like a TED Talk style. Professor Ken got up in front of the class, gave lectures from 10 to 4 o'clock, I think, and he kept talking about how untraditional this teaching style was and how hands-on this program was. And the exercises, although they felt silly at times, they were a great way of bonding with other people. And in the first week, we didn't really talk too much about the rest of the program. It felt really disconnected now that I really think about it. He would give lectures and exercises about entrepreneurship, teamwork, more about social skills, like the soft skills in business. And after judging everyone else in the program, I basically came up with these like set in stone categories for everyone, like the students who were more ratchet, the students who were serious, the students who were just going along the ride, and which I consider myself to be in the crowd of. And I figured out who I wanted to be with, who I didn't. And there were a lot of people who, even now, I don't think I grew too close to. There were people who weren't as serious as me. I worked fairly hard. Well, there was a certain turning point that I mentioned in the last vlog, but at the first half of the program, I was working pretty hard, and I grew only close to very few people. In fact, there were a lot of people. The time that I felt most connected to everyone was during the very first week, when we were all together, going on trips together, exploring the city, and going as this one huge community. Then once all the international students came in by the end of the week, we pretty much formed our own groups. We separated, and I never see them again until one incident which we were forced to reunite. Anyway, by the end of the first week, the only thing that I pretty much knew was about the people in the program, who I would end up being with. And it also helped me figure out what team I would end up being on. So that's pretty much the most that I'd say I got out of, if I think about it for a while. But once the program started, the first thing that we did was we used our knowledge about everyone here to form teams, who we would pretty much grow close to throughout the entire program. And unfortunately, if you watch my earlier vlogs, you'll hear me talking about the disaster that happened where I did something kind of not responsible, which was that I couldn't really decide between these two teams, and I just kept switching back and forth over and over again. And sometimes the professor, something that I learned from the professor, and a few people here, is that to be an entrepreneur, you you have to make decisions that you can't really think through. You can't reason them out because for for multiple possible reasons. Like maybe you don't have enough information. Maybe you just can't predict what's going to happen in the future. The evidence they have is unreliable, or there is just no way of going about reasoning it, which I didn't really accept at first. But now by the very end of it, I realize the importance. I realize how true it is. And eventually, I learned that you have to make decisions that even though don't seem rational, you just have to be decisive. And you have to accept whatever consequences follow. So my problems actually, luckily, ended up solving themselves. And I found a team that I grew to be very happy with. And the reason when I realized that I became really grateful was I saw a lot of people throughout the program that grew apart. And there was all of this drama that was happening around me. People were separating, there were conflicting ideas. When you have a team of really stubborn entrepreneurs together, of course it ends up blowing up by the second week. And there are just too many problems. Like there are ideas that you think, and it's really surprising, the ideas that you think are really promising, and you'll go through with it for a week, and then you'll find strong evidence that indicates why the idea actually doesn't, why the idea actually isn't a good one. And it can be hard to face. You can be in denial. Everyone faces it in a different way. Some people are in denial, other people compromise, and some completely abandon their ideas or their teams, and they try to just refresh everything. Like hit the restart button, try to start anew. And fortunately, this didn't happen to me. I found a team of people that I grew really close, well, not really close to, but that we were always very professional with. And no matter what we said to each other, we never took it personally. We could say whatever we wanted to each other, and we would just move on to the next day because we all realized that we're all striving towards a common goal. And even though we have disagreements, we are always respectful about it. And even sometimes it would be my fault. I would just be a little bit too aggressive with my opinions, and I realize that. And I realize that's something important that a lot of people lack, is that you need to be able to realize when you're wrong, and you need to be the bigger person and have enough dignity to admit it. So those are the values that I gained out of it. And pretty much up until the turning point, I was working really hard and I grew close to very few people. This is the part of the program when I wasn't just among the huge crowd, and I actually had my own personal bubble, which I really enjoyed, a place that I found home. I really felt like an adult. I was in my dorm, no one was with me, we all had singles, and no one told me what to do. I could have went to lecture, I could have not went to lecture, I could have eaten wherever, I could have met with whoever, and I love the independence. My entire life I felt really sheltered, and I always felt like that I was ready to just make the decisions for myself, handle problems by myself. And even though it can be a struggle at first, like my laptop breaking the other day, which I'm honestly still really bitter about, life moves on, and you realize how to move on with it. But oh Jesus Christ, I hate bugs. Anyway, what I realize the most is it's really fulfilling when you get to make your own decisions. And that's something that I really got the most out of this program. It was a great experience for me. And since the turning point, I worked hard. I grew close to this one software developer who I'll always remember, and that was the most personal time in the program for me. It was only when the incident happened when I felt like we were all completely reunited, because we were pretty much forced to. We were reunited, and I met up with everyone. I saw all of the different categories of people that I classified at the very beginning come together. And it made me realize that even though everyone has a different lifestyle, different values, some people prefer to enjoy their lives when they can, enjoy everyone's company, not really working too hard towards long-term goals. There's not one lifestyle that's superior to the other. And starting from this turning point, that's when I really started to learn that. It was a really emotional time for everyone. But luckily we had a great professor. We had great, I had great, we have great people at the program, and we all support each other. We all got it through it together. And it was tough. It was really tough. I had a lot of personal problems that were happening at the time, and honestly, this has been one of the toughest times that I've had to go through. But I feel really fortunate to have everyone supporting each other and to have a great leader, a great GSI. Everyone was so supportive, and I couldn't have asked for any more. And so after this happened, the competition was called off, and the program took a complete turn, for the better or worse, depending on how you interpret it. I wish that there's a part of me that wished that the competition went on, because I think I had a pretty good chance of winning. I was working really hard. We had excellent businessmen who knew how to pitch, who knew how to talk to investors. They knew how to sell what we made. And we had great developers who made the product really solid in the end. And we put in hours of work. We stayed up nights and nights putting a lot of effort. And a part of me wished that the show went on and that we could have eventually pulled through and would have gained something physical out of it. But then the other side of me realizes that maybe life isn't always about getting these physical achievements, and that there are some life experiences that you can really learn a lot from. And what I learned was that for me personally, for me to live a fulfilling life, I really need to strike this balance where I work hard towards my long-term goals, but every once in a while, I take a step back, I look at the big picture, and I let go of all of my worries. And one night when I was lying along the beach with a few friends, all of my emotions were coming at me all at once, and it was a time in my life that I'll never remember, that I'll never forget. I said that wrong, didn't I? Anyway, for any of you guys who are watching this who are considering doing this program, I would highly recommend it. If you don't have any tech internships and you need a good opportunity to have some projects on your resume, meet new people, if you feel like that the Berkeley life is too impersonal, this is an experience where it really depends on how you make of it. There are people who enjoy their lives, enjoy the experience partying, and there are people who took it seriously like me, and there are people who striked a good balance. You can gain a lot from the people around you. And if you have the tech skills and you're ready, then this is definitely a program for you. If you're in it to win it, then there's a lot to offer. There's a lot that this program has to offer. If you're in it to have a good experience, it's completely up to you. You're treated like an adult, and it's really what you make out of it. So I would say this was an overall fairly positive experience. When I get back to Berkeley, there are a lot of things that I'm going to continue doing, and a lot of things that I'm going to change. This is a time in my life that I think I should be working as hard as I can. So I'll be working a lot harder once I get back to Berkeley. Not like my first year where I focused a bit too much on my classes. I want a more well-rounded college experience, and that's something that I don't think I would have gotten from just staying at home, self-studying all the time. You can learn a lot from the people around you, whether it's their work ethic, their skills, their lifestyle, and in the end, I would highly recommend it for any of you guys out there. Anyway, so I guess that recaps my entire experience, and there's just a few people who I really want to show my appreciation towards. One is that I don't think I would have had such a great experience, and I might have not gone through everything, such an emotional time, if it weren't for my closest friends, and most importantly, my professor in GSI. I couldn't have asked for a team that was just so strong and so compassionate. And I couldn't thank them enough for giving me experiences that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. And that's not something I can really say easily. A lot of professors at Berkeley feel really impersonal. And especially all of you Berkeley students will know this, but when there are just too many people, it just feels like we're just meaningless in this huge crowd of just people who've had similar experiences to us. But out here, it wasn't the same at all. The professor showed every day that he cared for all of us. And honestly, I wouldn't have had such a great experience if it weren't for him. Anyway, so that's the end of this series, and who knows, maybe I'll make it some new vlog in the future about my daily life. To be honest, I changed a lot as a person. My hobbies have changed, and I like vlogging to be honest. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm getting super tired. It's 2 in the morning, and I should probably get some rest. But anyway, for all of you guys out there, I hope you learned a lot from watching this series, and I hope you've had a good time with the vlog for those of you who weren't actually involved in the program. Anyway, so thanks for joining me on this ride, and I'll see you later.